On Shmira. For tonight. Welcome to On Shmira, your nightly bedtime podcast from Indoor World. Listen to your favorite Sevet tell their favorite stories as you're on your way to sleep. Now close your eyes because the lights are going off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So this story actually happened last summer on the Lina. The Lina was going wonderfully as usual. We were having lots of fun. We had made our fires, made dinner. Everyone was winding down for the night, and it was a little bit later at night. Most of the chanichim and chanichot were sleeping already, and me and my co-counselors, we had been up. We were having a good time, hanging out, getting to know one another a little bit better, and eventually, the time came to go to sleep, and it was really cold that night. It gets very cold by camp at night very often, especially on Lina since it's earlier in the summer. And so I'm going to where my sleeping bag is, and the ground is cold, and I'm very chilly. And some other Sevet were sleeping by the fire. They're like, "Oh, just sleep by the fire. It's so much warmer here." I'm like, it's a great idea. Why have I never thought of that? This is my, third Lina, and I've never slept by the fire before. I feel like that should have crossed my mind at some point, then it wouldn't be so cold at night. So I bring my sleeping bag over. It's really nice. It's cozy. Like, there's not really any flames there, just like some coal still warm. And I was like, this is perfect. This is so much more comfortable than any other, than any other Lina night that I've been on. So I go to sleep, all's good, nice and toasty, and it had been pretty late at night, so I wasn't asleep very long before, it started getting light out the next morning. And in the morning, I'm still kind of asleep, and I hear, people, around me, sort of, giggling. I'm not really sure what's going on, so I, wake up. That feeling, when you wake up on the Lina, it's, probably 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, but you have no idea what time it is because you've just been out in a field all night and it's all dark and sort of getting lighter out. But either way, I wake up and I see there's a bunch of campers, around me. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And I'm like, I wonder what they're all looking at. I noticed that, they're looking at something and they're kind of pointing, but I had only gotten a handful of hours of sleep and I was really tired and I was kind of wondering what was going on, but I was like, this seems interesting. So I lift my head up and I look around, and what do I see? My sleeping bag is on fire. I don't know if any of you have ever woken up on fire before, but it's a bit of a confusing experience because I didn't feel on fire and I didn't even feel hot at all, and I was just kind of confused why everyone was looking around but not waking me up until I realized that it wasn't me per se that was on fire. It was my sleeping bag. You see, me thinking I was so smart, having gone to sleep by the fire that had been almost out when I was asleep. I'm not going to go asleep next to a bonfire. That would be crazy. It'd been basically out, but I guess at some point in the night, either someone added more wood to it or the breeze picked it up again. I don't know what happened, but somehow a little coal had ended up on the edge of my sleeping bag and was swiftly burning a hole in my sleeping bag. So by the time I first opened my eyes, and again I was so groggy, I was half asleep, I had basically no idea what was going on. And when I first looked at my sleeping bag, the fire was probably a little bit, it wasn't so hot, the coal, so it wasn't I was completely ablaze. It was just a little, it started off as just a little thing around the size probably of a softball. And the longer I'm looking at it and it's taking my brain to process what's happening, but as I look down and continue to realize what's happening, I'm seeing this little coal go from softball size to grapefruit size, approaching basketball size, and as I'm waking up, I'm realizing that I am on fire. Like, Adira Levine, you are on fire. Time to exit the sleeping bag. So I like quickly hop out of the sleeping bag. What do? I don't want the grass to catch on fire. I am not going to be the person that burns the Lina site down. So luckily I had used my backpack as a pillow the night before, and in the side, like, you know, that little mesh pocket on the backpack was my water bottle. Luckily there was water in it. So all in all, we got pretty lucky considering that I woke up on fire. And I took the water bottle, like put out the thing, stomped it out. Meanwhile, like a bunch of campers are like standing around laughing, pointing at the fire, pointing at me like, LOL, you were on fire. And I was like, LOL, it would have been great if you woke me up. But all things considered, it worked out. And honestly, some might even say it worked out for the better, because now that there's a huge hole burned into the bottom of this, I was like, can't return this sleeping bag back to camp. So like, you know, I asked my Roshi, I'm like, can I just throw this out? They're like, yeah, like we're not returning a sleeping bag with a giant hole burned in it. So I got to throw out my sleeping bag, and then I didn't have to carry anything back to camp from the Lina site. So, you know, if you're ever feeling lazy and you don't want to carry a sleeping bag back, burning it on fire might just be the way to go. Lila Tov, and I hope everyone sleeps well.
Thank you for listening, and good night. This has been On Shmirah.
This podcast was produced in Sugar Grove, Pennsylvania by Alicia Kelman and Eliza Makovsky. Thank you to our Tevet members who have contributed their stories. For more information, visit campstone.org.